Society says that being wealthy means having a lot of money, assets, and resources. Living in a house with more bathrooms than bedrooms, designer furniture, the latest technology programmed to make everything comfortable. It's being able to afford designer brands from head to toe, only shopping at grocery stores where aisles are neatly organized and nothing ever goes on sale. It's staying in hotels where they call you by your last name, and you get there by flying business class, no matter how long or short the flight is, and having your laptop out working because you are important. It's rubbing elbows with the right people, dressing like you belong at the table, and timing your laugh to everyone else. This is the wealth that's portrayed to us in mainstream media and what we're supposed to admire and work towards. But minimalists know that true wealth is something entirely different.
I just want to say that I have zero desire to attain this kind of wealth where it's all about your net worth and your material riches, exclusive experiences, because it seems like some of the most wealthiest and famous people in our society, they had to give up something far more greater to attain this kind of wealth. Whether it's time with their loved ones or their health, their mental health, and sometimes their integrity and their values. Definitely not all of them, but a lot of them. And it seems like we're getting a sneak peek of what it really costs to attain this kind of wealth in 2025. And I'm just not interested. So I've been asking myself this a lot. What does it mean to be truly wealthy? And for me, true wealth is a mindset of abundance and how we carry that out in everything we do every day.
And abundance is so much more than money. If I had to describe it as a feeling, it would feel like peace, not stressing over every little thing. It feels like security, trusting that my needs will always be met. It feels spacious and free, having time to rest, create, and never rush. It feels like gratitude, finding blessings in the smallest things. And it feels generous, having more than enough to share. When we embody this mindset and channel it into everything we do, I found that life has a way of reflecting it back to us. And this is what true wealth means to me.
I just want to say that I know how important it is to have a sufficient income and to have money for security, for comfort, to fuel for the things that we actually want to do in life. But I truly believe that when you adopt this abundant mindset, you might be able to see things from a different perspective, and you might be able to attract people who also think very generously. And you might eventually see your reality shift too, because it all starts from the mind. Things in itself don't hold any value. We are the ones who give value and meaning to them. Think of a diamond, for example. It is not the most rare gemstone, and it's not the most beautiful for sure, but it's so expensive because we as a society collectively decided that this is going to be high value. If we apply this logic to our everyday lives, I think that it can be a very powerful shift in our reality.
This is something that we can start today, right now. Instead of asking, what's valuable in my life? Change it to, what do I want to make valuable in my life? Instead of just going through the motion in the mornings, make a whole ritual out of it. Don't just think of meals as calories that you need, but from the cooking, the plating, to eating, see it as your chance to nourish your body and soul. And apply this to everything else. You will feel like more than $1 million. Think of your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your mindset, like a big garden. If it gets neglected, weeds will start to grow, the soil will dry out, pests will take over, and soon enough, nothing can flourish in that environment. But if you tend to your inner garden on a regular basis, take care of everything with love and gratitude, it becomes full of life, and everything will flourish on its own.
I truly believe that our outer world is just a reflection of that inner garden. And we think that when life gets crazy, when life gets hectic and stressful, then we start to feel very stressed and anxious and overwhelmed. But I think most of the time, we are just projecting onto the world how we are feeling inside, our deep beliefs about the world, and we create our own realities. So if you want abundance, then you have to start feeling abundant in everything you do. That's why I love doing one-word intentions in the mornings, because you can meditate on the word and see where in your body you start to feel abundant. And you can replicate this feeling throughout the day when you are eating, when you are answering your emails, or whatever it is, and you will start to see that abundance shows up everywhere in your life.
I want to thank my paid partner for today's video, BetterHelp. Lately, my therapy session has been a mental health check-in for me. We can go through our busy lives without ever stopping to think, how am I feeling right now? What is something weighing heavy on my mind? What is something that I can let go of to make my life flow easier? Even though I continue to journal and have my mindful practices every day, unpacking everything with the guidance of a credentialed therapist definitely hits different. I appreciate that my therapist lets me talk during our sessions, because I'm usually doing most of the listening in my everyday interactions. It's actually one of the best features of BetterHelp, that it allows us to switch therapists to someone we align with better. If you want to work through something, or you want to schedule in a mental health check-in like me, you can try BetterHelp for yourself. Just fill out a questionnaire, and they'll connect you with a credentialed therapist as soon as possible. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/malamalife and get 10% off of your first month therapy. Thank you to BetterHelp for being a paid partner for today's video.
We had a next door neighbor on Maui who sold their house a couple of years ago, and they ended up selling it for a value way less than the market value. And when we were in conversation, they said something like, we know that we left some money on the table, but we found the new owners, we sold the house, and we can move on with our life in peace. I don't know how much more money they could have gotten from that sale, but I know that they didn't need it, because I know that they are truly wealthy in life anyways. In the past, I know that I gave from a place of people-pleasing, but now I know that it's coming from a place of knowing that there is more than enough to go around, and that the supply is infinite.
And I know I always talk about the importance of being frugal, but honestly, it's about knowing when to cut back and when to be generous, when to hold back and when to go for it. And when your values are clear, you'll always know which choice to make.
In my previous 9-to-5 job, I had two different kinds of coworkers. One that was very complacent in where they were, and they never went above and beyond. The second group of people, they put in so much effort into the littlest things. And no surprise, these coworkers never ended up staying too long because they were offered a job elsewhere. And the thing is that they weren't doing it for any kind of recognition. I know that those coworkers were doing it, putting in effort and care into everything, because that's who they believed that they were. And eventually, life presented them with opportunities that matched exactly how they carried themselves. This is why I don't think that you can just manifest your riches or chase these get-rich-quick schemes if you don't have the foundation of what it takes to really sustain true wealth, the confidence, the discipline, the skills, the talent, and maybe the value that you see yourself as. Then it will never last. So if you really want true wealth, you have to change the way that you value yourself. Live in alignment with that person, and life will just mirror that back to you. I truly believe who you are when no one else is watching is who shows up in the real world, and everyone can tell eventually. In the past, people found meaning through the things that they were creating. The job wasn't just for a job, it wasn't just a paycheck. It was something that you contributed back to community. And people took pride in their work. That's why you see old staircases that are so beautiful, old buildings that look like masterpieces. And now we don't value the same things anymore. First, a lot of the jobs out there are just jobs programs. They're just invented for us to be doing something. Really no wonder that we feel so detached with the things that we do. And so we have to find meaning elsewhere. And that's where consumerism comes in. We find meaning in the things that we buy and what those things represent about us. But no amount of stuff or how much we accessorize our lives with cool, glittery stuff, it will not give us the same meaning and purpose as the things that we create.
With all that said, you do not need to quit your job and trade it in for a creative job. We can all create in other ways. Try to cook a meal from scratch, plant something and watch it grow, learn to play an instrument. Try to do a DIY house project on your own. Do it with love and pride. And not only will you feel more connected to yourself, you're proving that your value and worth comes from within.
I think it's safe to say that we all want a wealthy life, but I hope that you don't get distracted by this performance of what wealth is by the mainstream and social media. I hope that this video gave you something to think about, how you should define your own version of wealth. And honestly, I think that most of us don't realize how wealthy we already are. If you are watching this video, you're probably watching it on your phone or your laptop. If you have a warm bed to sleep in, if you have a roof over your head, if you have people or animals that love you, you're already so much more wealthier than you think. You just have to see it for yourself.